Good evening. How's everybody today? Well, I have a story. Orator, storyteller. I wanted to share a little story with you about my trip to Nepal. When I went to Everest and spent some time, I think I spent about 5 months in Nepal wandering around, teaching English at a school for a little bit and things like that. But I want to do something. I want to show you something, and then I'm going to do something at the same time. So Songkran Festival is on the 13th, which is the Thai New Year, and it's a bit like April. It lasts for a bit like Easter. It lasts for like 3 or 4 days. So it's a big holiday. Everybody goes home to their families, spend time with each other, and then if you try to drive down the road or walk anywhere, you get soaked. The first time it kind of spooked me out, but you know, you're driving and somebody's throwing stuff at your truck. But I got used to it, and it's actually quite funny if you stop and watch. People get soaked, they're laughing, joking, because April's like the hottest month. What do you think of this today? So, I want to show you something. Watch this, and I'll come right back. Got me. Okay, I'm back. Where am I now? You know this place, don't you? Remember my little house I want to do up? So I come down here to see these guys. They're pumping the water out of this pond here, the closest one, to the one behind. If you look over here, you can see in one of my other videos I showed you a while back, they took the water out of this pond, pumped it all out into the main river behind that big bank over there. See the red scooter over there in the center of the picture? Well, on the other side of that bank is the main river. So they pump it all out and got all the fish out. And then this one, they're doing the same. And that goes all the way down there. Right down to that tree line down there. So they're pumping the water out of there to go to the pond behind them. Well, photographer Kevin is sitting in the back of his pickup truck looking at this big trees over here. Way over there, see? Waiting to see if these birds come to nest tonight so I can get them, take a picture, but they don't seem to be coming yet. There's two types of birds that I watch. One is like a great, it looks like a bit like a pelican, but it's not. It has a really long, like I don't know how long is it, maybe 18 inches long. What is that, about 25 centimeters, something like that? And there's a tree way over there somewhere. It's hard to I can see it from here, but you guys might see it. The big tree way over in the corner there. And there's a lot of those big gray ones sitting up in there. It's hard to see them now, but they're sitting on the top of the tree. I could see them with this camera, the Canon, with the 400 zoom on it. But I'm waiting to see if the white birds come to sit in this tree. And I'm just sitting in the middle of nowhere, waiting. So what is the Paradise Project? Something I've been thinking of for years and years and years and years. Many years ago I went to, when I was in the Army, about 1979. It's a story, Orator's at it again. So you have to listen. But in about 1979 I was in the Army, and I was asked to take some vehicles from one place to another. So I had a couple guys with me, and we drove about 4 or 5 hours away, dropped these vehicles off. And so what were they for? well, young officers from Sandhurst were training. You know, they were at Sandhurst learning to be officers, leadership and all that. And they were going to use the they were going to use the vehicles to just basically to guard them and things like that, while the Gurkhas attacked them. So who were the Gurkhas? Here comes a scooter. So who are the Gurkhas? Well, Gurkhas is actually a district in Nepal, or province, or I think district in Nepal. And they were the original sort of infantry guys that worked with the British Army, all from Gurkha. So they would do their basic training and then have a selection, then basic training, and then they would be part of the British Army. So, and this started before the Second World War. So, and they were still working with them then. So I dropped the vehicles off, the officers took the drivers, and I had nothing to do. So I walked around with the Gurkhas while they were attacking the officers. So, you know, just might walk 5 kilometers, they set up an ambush, attack them, get out, and I would just hang out with them, you know, something to do. But when they stopped to rest, I sit down and talk to them, and they told me about Nepal, and I'm like, dude, it went instantly on my bucket list. So years later, I kept thinking about it, and still think about it now. I don't know why I'm attracted to places that are in the middle of nowhere and nobody around. I just don't know why I'm like that, but I love it. So years later, I wound up going to Nepal. I remember going to Nepal is divided up into 3 sections. Terai region, which is the plains region, which is very hot in the summertime, crazy hot, 40 plus. And then there's the hill region, which is basically just hills, but in some cases you would consider them mountains, you know. But in Nepal, it's not a mountain unless it has snow on it 365 days a year. So, you know, Everest is there, right? So I went to the Terai region, went to a national park and seen a rhinoceros in the woods, you know, 20 meters from me, no fence. Then I went to the hill region, to a place called Gumi, which is way out, and I hung out there for about a month in that village, and I volunteered my services working at a local school, teaching creative writing to a group of guys from the girls and guys, about 25 young people, creative writing in English. So you know, there was a purple house across the valley, and I said to him about, I know there's a wizard that lives up there, and I described what he looked like, and I said, what do you think what color is his beard, what color is his hair, how long is his fingernails, all this sort of stuff, and they were going, I don't know. I said, just think, and they started coming up with answers. I said, okay, 15 minutes, tell me a story about him. And their teacher came in and seen me doing this, and he was like, whoa, man, how do you do that? Teach me how to do that. I'm like, okay. Anyway, I left there, went down the road, and I was teaching Nepali teachers English, which was also fun. But then I wanted to go see Everest, but I learned that Everest was really hard to get to. You can fly to base camp, but then you have to walk like 4 or 5 days. And I thought, you know, I had for some reason I was having a problem breathing there. I guess because of the altitude. So I thought, there's no way that I'm going to walk 4 or 5 days at altitude and enjoy. So I thought, okay. So the next best thing was a plane. They had a plane from Kathmandu airport for $100. You could fly, it's like a 45-minute flight. So we flew out there and flew around Everest. I got some cool pictures, and then just amazing how big it is. It's just hard to describe its size. So the pilot said, Kathmandu said we have to stay there for 20 minutes or 30 minutes. So we just kept going round and round. Very cool. But you know, hanging out in Kathmandu and in Gumi, you see how people have nothing, literally nothing. They have a house but a shell, no heating, like no kitchen, nothing. And I seen this old, you know, this lady with 2 children living in a bamboo house, you know, and it's cold in the hills, cold at night, you know, so you have to be but that's where they lived. So that's where I came up with the idea, the Paradise Project. I thought one day when I have some money, I'm going to start this project and the idea. So I think I'm going to start it here in the village. I don't know when, but I'm going to start it at some point. And that is maybe buy offcuts of leather from who make car seats and stuff like that, and then turn that into like purses and maybe handbags and wallets, and get a stamp saying the Paradise Project and sell it online. I'm not interested in making anything for myself. I'm just going to manage it all, and then the profits of that will employ people, and then maybe make wheelchairs, because there's people who need wheelchairs. There's a guy in the village who had a stroke and can't walk. And he tries to pedal this 3-wheel bicycle around with one leg. So I thought, if you put an electric wheel on it, you know, that simple. So anyway, it's definitely getting dark out here now, and the birds aren't going to sit in that tree, so I guess I'll count my losses on that one tonight. So sell that online and make a profit, which then you can go to another village and do the same thing. And maybe one day if I can make enough money out of it, go back to Nepal, to Gulmi, and do like I was dreaming of. So what do you think of the Paradise Project? Leave me a comment. Tell me what you think. Okay, I'm going to sign off, guys. It's getting dark, and I don't think those birds are going to come sit in the tree. But I bought my camera, ready to catch them, but they're not coming. This is before I get eaten. I'm going to go home. Best wishes, guys. All the best.